All right, ERDJ, you're a certified financial educator is here, man. And here's what we're doing, man. We're going on the money mind shift. We're talking about how rich people think. Because here's the deal, guys. Quite honestly, rich people think differently than poor people. And I believe that wealth begins in the mind. Let me repeat that again. Wealth begins in the mind. What you put in here will ultimately be an output in your life. And so here's the deal. People always ask me to open up my library. You know, how did I get out of debt? How am I building wealth? And what I tell people is one of the things that I did is I read. Now, here's the deal. If I tell somebody to read this book, guess what? They just won't read it. Why is that? We know that successful people, if you ask any successful person out there, what's one of the things they've done to be successful? They'll say, read. But yet we find all the unsuccessful people who don't want to take the time to read. So what I decided to do was, instead of telling people what I read, I figured I'd create a show where I just read and we talk and we discuss about what we read about. Maybe that's a little bit easier, because I remember when I was like 1 year old and 2 years old, people would read to me in some kind of way. It just seeped into my subconscious, and I remember some of those lullabies. So it's lullaby time. So that's the deal. So we're reading How Rich People Read by Steve Siebold. Now, Steve, I'm telling you, I'm working on an affiliate marketing program with Amazon, so you can cut me a check for doing all your promotion. But How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. Now, here's the deal. We're on day number 5. So let's do a quick recap. Day number 1 was rich people think, poor people think about saving, rich people think about earning. In other words, what rich people do, they think about how they can serve more people and solve more problems. Again, how they can serve more people and solve more problems. This is how they continue to amass wealth. Day number 2, we talked about linear versus nonlinear thinking. Poor people think linear, trading time for money. They always think, hey, if I can just work more hours, I can make more money. Rich people think about nonlinear. In other words, they think about how they can make their money work for them. Why? Because that gives them more time to do some of the things that they love to do. Day number 3, we talked about, what did we talk about? See, I got to remember. Day number 3, we talked about hard work versus leverage. Again, poor people think about hard work. I got to get another job. I've got to work more hours. I got to put in the overtime to make more money. Rich people think about leverage. They think about how they can leverage. Yes, it's recorded. I'll share the link. They think about how they can leverage their skills, their time, their abilities, their time and their money to create more money. And I talked about this and how what we've been taught in school is how to get a degree. What we haven't been taught is how to leverage the degree. That's why people go to school, get their degree, and then they find themselves not using it because they never learned about leverage, how to leverage their degree, their skills, and their abilities to get the job that they want to pay back the loan that they got. Because ultimately, you got that loan with the bank or whoever believed that you would be worth this much money when you got out of school. And so we talk about leverage.
Show me the money. Show me the money.
And then day number 4, which was yesterday, we talked about the root of all evil, and where, poor people believe that money is the root of all evil. And we know the biblical scripture that the love of money is the root of all evil, where rich people believe that poverty is the root of all evil. And we understand that if you're poor, you live a more expensive life. Again, let me say that again. If you're poor, you're living a more expensive life. You got bad credit, you got to get a higher interest rate. You live in poor, you live a more expensive life. Things cost you more when you're poor than they do when you're rich. All right, so now that's a quick recap. And guess what? Every week I'm going to do a weekly recap. So when I start on Monday, I'm not going to recap all this stuff again. You just got to kind of watch the things in the background. I do have everything recorded, and I will share the YouTube link in just a second. But we got to get on in the ball. This takes about 15 minutes.
Hit the ground running.
This takes about 15 minutes for us to go through, but it's going to be an absolutely wonderful experience. And hopefully you'll share in on the conversation. So day number 5.
You said 5.
Day number 5. The middle class believe being rich is a privilege. The world class believe being rich is a right. Again, I know that's right. I can't afford to be poor. The middle class believe that being rich is a privilege. World class believe being rich is a right. The average person believes being rich is a privilege awarded only to lucky people. World class thinkers know in a capitalistic country, they have the right to be rich if they're willing to create massive value for others. So again, This goes back to what I was saying about serving more people and solving more problems. I'm telling you, if that's where you focus, if you stop focusing on complaining about the problem and you go and start focusing on figuring out a solution to the problem, and you find a solution to a problem that's big enough that it serves more people, inherently it's going to bring you money. Inherently,
you need to be a light bulb.
So think about what type of value are you creating? Massive value for others in this world. What type of value are you creating? Massive value. Now, there's one thing to be supporting or to creating value for one person. It's another thing to be creating value for 1 million people. Think about that. To be a millionaire, all it takes is to get $1 from 1 million people. So when you think about whatever product or service or job that you do, ask yourself, how many people am I servicing? What kind of value am I bringing to this economic system that we live in?
Think about Elvis for a minute.
So this distinction in thinking leads the middle class to the lottery and the world class to work. This distinction, how we think, it leads the middle class to the lottery. In other words, they're trying to get rich by winning riches, while the wealthy are getting rich by working towards the wealth. They know, they understand that you get rich, wealth is generated over time, while the middle class or the poor, they think that they can win riches. They think that the gold at the end of the rainbow is a gift where money is going to drop from the sky and be theirs. But here's the thing about winning riches. If you never learn how to earn it, then you don't value it. And that's why we see people win the lottery and be broke again. Because it's not just about getting the money. It's about all the sweat, all the work, all the things that you created along the way for that money to come into your storehouse. So ask yourself, are you going to be a person that's trying to win money, or are you going to be a person that's trying to earn money? And the way that you earn money at a grand scale is to provide more, is to solve more problems and to serve more people.
Be Elvis. Be Elvis.
All right. So while the masses are waiting to pick the right numbers and praying for prosperity, the great ones are solving problems. They believe if they make life better or easier for others, it's their right to be rich. They're always thinking of new ways to build a better mousetrap, and are often scorned by the masses for being materialistic, self-absorbed, and greedy. While the masses are watching television and surfing the web, champions are thinking, working, and dreaming of a better life. They got to ask yourself, am I a person that's thinking, that's working, and dreaming a better life, or am I wasting my time, the time that I have away from my job, the time that I have away from my responsibilities? Am I wasting that time sitting in front of the television and surfing the web? Rich people think differently than poor people. This is why they're rich. Look at Elvis. Hey, the middle class is more interested in being entertained than they are in being rich. Not because they wouldn't love to be wealthy, but because they don't believe it's possible for them. So is being rich, is it possible for you? Now, I know it's easy to say yes. Yes. I know to say yes is easy. And here's what happens when we talk about, is it possible? Many people will say, yes, it's possible, but then they'll say, it's not possible for me. So here's what I want you to say. I want you to type in the comments below. If you believe this, I want you to say, yes, it's possible. And then say, yes, it's possible for me. Those two.
Are you reading words. The book now, or is this off your head?
Oh, this is off my head. This is what I do. This is what we have a conversation. So you got it. So in the comments below, you say, yes, it's possible. But then say, yes, it's possible for me. I think that there's a big distinction in that, because many people say, yes, it's possible because you go to church, you read in the Bible, all things are possible with God. They'll say, yes, it's possible. But then I want you to say, yes, it's possible for me. All right, yeah. So yes, Miss Kristen, I ad lib along the way because it's just boring just to read out of a book. We gotta talk to people to read it. So being rich is so far out of the average person's belief system, it never even crosses their mind. The fact is, it's possible for anyone living in a society that rewards problem solving. The great ones believe that they have the right to be rich as the right to be as rich as the value that they create. So in place of watching football games, memorizing batting averages, and playing video games, they are laser focused on new ideas that have the potential to build their wealth. Being laser focused on new ideas that have the potential to build their wealth. So what's the last idea? Maybe I want to ask, I want you to think about the last great idea that you had. I don't necessarily want you to share it. If you want to, you can. I know some of these great ideas, you got to hold on to them. But then I wonder, the last great idea that you had, did you work on? Did you? And I know we got a creative Kristen working on your ideas all the time, but you got these great ideas. But then I want to ask you, did you put any work into it? Did you put any?
Yeah. So here, I want to tell you my idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I tell it to you? Okay. So I'm a portrait photographer, and I am currently working on a 100-person project I'm calling it Spread Sparkle because it's that's my personal mission I believe that good photography spreads sparkle. And so I'm looking for 100 people, and I was originally going with the ages 4 to 7 because that was the most authentic ages where the subconscious doesn't start thinking about what other people are doing or what they're saying or whatever. So in November, I had announced that I was working on this project, and then I had a lot of friends, mothers, and everybody who was like, well, what about my 3-year-old? And what about my 8-year-old? And I was like, okay, whatever. So the ages are from 0 to 99, and I'm looking for across the country participants. So yeah, that's my idea.
Absolutely.
And the art show is going to be in November in Austin, Texas, and then it's going to be a coffee table book.
Okay, fantastic. Look at that. And oh man, so he sold his HVAC company. Now he's working on building a company based upon online reviews for small business owners. Absolutely phenomenal, man. It's phenomenal. And you need 100 people.
100 people. I have 3 so far. I'm down to 97. I need 97.
97 bottles on the wall.
I'm also doing a 100 days of dancing project, and I'm on day 77. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Guess what, Kristen? This is 100 days. So I'm on 100 days of thinking how rich people think. We're on day number 6. We got 94 to go.
That's awesome.
So here's the deal, guys. Kristen, I thank you for being courageous enough to share your idea and where you're at. Mr. Support Mark, I want to thank you so much for sharing where you are and with your idea. Because here's the deal, guys. When you put your stuff out, the universe now is holding you accountable to finishing, right? So if I see Kristen again in 30 days and I'll be like, Kristen, what's going on with your thing? And she's like, oh, I had to stop it. Or whatever, it's not going to feel good to her. She's going to be like, man, I got to get back on there because ERGJ is going to hold me accountable. And not just ERGJ, but everybody that's here is now holding her accountable to her own success because she put out what it is that she's going after. Mr. HVAC, Mr. Support Market, when I see him again, whether it be 10 days, 20 days, 50 days, I'm going to ask him, what's going on with your online reviews? And if he be like, oh, ERGJ, it just didn't work. I had to move on and be like, hey, you put it out there that this was what you was going to do. So when you put your stuff out there, that takes courage because now you're telling the world, you're telling the universe to hold you accountable to your own success. Don't be afraid to share what's
Let's bring Elvis back.
All right. So again, we said that so in place of watching football games, memorizing batting averages, and playing video games, they are laser focused on new ideas that have the potential to build their wealth. With this mindset, is it any mystery with this tiny fraction is it any mystery why this tiny fraction of the population owns the bulk of the world's wealth? So if you don't know, about 62 people own and control more than half of the world's resources. That's all that wealth is resources. 62 people own and control more than half of the entire world's wealth. Now, we understand that the rich are going to continue to get richer because they've learned how to get rich. We understand that the poor will continue to get poor because they learned how to be poor. The whole point of why I decided to do what we're doing today is to help some people that want to shift their mindset from being poor to being rich, that you can start to catch up. You can start to go in a new direction. You can start to have a new destination wherever it is that your life may be taking you. So whatever you believe you can achieve. And I know that as I think about where I was and my growth, my childhood, there wasn't a lot of talk about wealth. And so I just decided we're going to talk about money. And that's going to be something we're going to talk about, because guess what? Money is a major piece to the life puzzle. If you don't believe it, try living without it. Okay?
Yeah. No, thank you.
So here's the deal.
Elvis doesn't believe in that either.
Yeah.
Elvis knows he came from poor roots. You know he did. You've seen his house.
Hey, so we got a quote today. We got a critical question today, and then we got an action step, and that'll wrap us up. So the quote today is: when you realize money is your divine heritage, you should persist in claiming it. When you realize money is your divine heritage, you should persist in claiming it. And that's Catherine Ponder. Now here's the question of the day, the critical question for you to think of. Do you believe it's your right to be rewarded with riches based upon the value you create for others? Do you believe it's your right to to be rewarded with riches based on the value that you create for others? Do you believe that? Do you believe it's your right? If you create enough value for others, do you believe it's your right to be rewarded with riches? I know you might need to think about it, but that requires you to actually answer the question.
I believe.
Yeah, based on the service you provide others. Right. That's the value that you're creating, the service that you are providing. Absolutely. That's right. Support Mark. Do you believe it's your right? If you create enough value, you provide enough service, you solve enough problems, do you believe that is rewarded with riches? That's the critical thinking question, because some people think that for some reason that rich people got rich by privilege, that it was given to them, that it was handed to them. They don't look at Bill Gates and say that he provided a whole bunch of service to over 60 billion people with this computer. So consciously people believe that, unconsciously maybe another thing. Fantastic. And here's our action step, guys. It says, do you believe self-made millionaires are lucky, or that they deserve every dollar that they have? Do you believe that self-made millionaires are lucky, or that they deserve every dollar that they have? And we talk about self-made millionaires, right? If you win the lottery, you're lucky, right? And we also know that self-made millionaires do have a bit of luck involved, but their luck is different. Their luck is where preparation meets opportunity, right? They're not scratching off their way to living that life. They have prepared, and an opportunity has arisen, and they took advantage of the opportunity. They saw a problem in the world, and they went to go solve it. The Wright brothers saw a problem in the world, so they wanted to build an airplane. Henry Ford saw a problem in the world, so he wanted to build automobiles. What problem do you see in this world that you can create a solution for, that will serve enough people, that will reward you with riches into your storehouse? Now, here's the deal. I don't focus on the money. I focus on the mission. My mission is to build a school so we can teach the world about financial literacy. That's it. It's really that simple. I focus on the kids right now, but I understand that this space that I'm in is so huge that I can serve everybody on the planet. If you take 70% of how many ever people live in America, that's how many people at least I can serve. So I know that the problem that I'm solving is big enough, and I understand that I can serve just enough people that ultimately it'll bring even more money into my storehouse. But I don't focus on the money. I focus on the mission. The mission is what's important to me. I know the money will come. As Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll have everything that you want. The book that I'm reading, again, Steve Siebold, I Want My Check, How Rich People Think, by Steve Siebold. And so that's what we're talking about, guys. So if you got anything that you'd like to share, hopefully you enjoyed our time together, man. I do this Monday through Saturday, 6 days on, 1 day off. And we're going through 100 days of the money mind shift. I'm here every day at 8 a.m. so you can tune in.
This was day 5.
Tune in. It is being recorded and is uploaded to YouTube. So let me find the YouTube channel for those that want to catch our previous episodes. That's right. Look at that. I got episodes now. So, Miss Kristen, man, you got anything to share with the people, man?
You just need to believe in yourself. Do it. You can do it.
All right. So what I'm doing now, guys, is I'm getting to the YouTube. So here's a YouTube channel, guys. So for those, yeah, it's 8 a.m. Eastern. No, 6 Basham. I don't think I'm gonna let you in, brother. I don't even like that name. So here's the YouTube. Oh, yeah, I don't do eggs. I don't do eggs. Sorry. Bye.
No. Yeah, so I'm a portrait photographer. If you need help with your imaging, if anything with eyeballs needs pictures, I would be happy to help you with that. I put my website over there, so you can find me, photos.zenfolio.com. Happy to help you. I'm in Austin, Texas. You just call me up. I'll help you.
Fantastic. So, guys, hopefully there's the YouTube link if you need to catch up on what we've discussed this week. Day number 5. I put it all up on. I put it on YouTube. I put it on LinkedIn. I just put it everywhere because I know people, need to hear this information, and hopefully we can start to deposit some seeds into our mind that's going to change our output of what we have in life. Rich people think differently. Wealth begins in the mind. If you find yourself in a position where you're not rich, you find yourself in a position where you're broke, busted, and disgusted, I would say it has a lot to do with what has been programmed up here. So let's begin to change the programming intentionally so we can actually change the results or the output that we have in our life. Well, this is ERGJ, Certified Financial Educator. Again, 15 minutes to change your thinking so you can change your life and you can actually change what's going on with your bank account. That's the deal. So hopefully you'll be back with us. If not Monday, I'm going to be here. So the question is, will you? Hey, have a good weekend. Let's build as we climb together because it truly does take a village.